What's your favourite film growing up?
One of my favorite films when I was a kid was, I want to say, do you remember did you ever see the movie Oliver from the Charles Dickens story, Oliver Twist?
Yeah.
Well, the movie that was made a long time ago in the 1960s, that was probably one of my favorite films.
Well, I have a lot of affection for Treasure Island, which was a film that came out when I was about your age, and with Robert Newton as the pirate Jim Ladd. He was sort of Gandalf, but a rascal. I like that very much, and I remember I had to queue up. In those days, a popular film, you had to queue, and I sat in the very front row, and it was a very distorted view I had of it. But my favourite film, when I was a bit older than you, was a French film, which I can recommend, called, in French, Les Vacances de Monsieur Hulot. In English, The Holidays of Monsieur Hulot. Monsieur Hulot's Holidays. And it's very, very, very funny. And it's about the English abroad and what fools they make of themselves.
I mean, I think when I saw Godard's Breathless, that the way it was shot and the feeling of it is something that always stays with me and I always think about and reference.
I think my favorite movies growing up were always movies with monsters. So I would love all the Ray Harryhausen animated films. I would love Godzilla. I would love Frankenstein. Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein to me are two of the most perfect films as a kid and as an adult. And it's because when I was growing up, I felt like the Frankenstein creature. I felt like I was here, I didn't ask to be born, I didn't understand all the rules, and I was awkward. So, you know, it became the patron saint of awkwardness, the creature. And that was very important for me growing up.
I don't know if you've even seen it, but Jaws is one of my favourite movies. Have you seen it? I think it's one of the best movies ever made, and it might be my favourite movie. I've seen it about 30 times. And I think the acting is amazing. I think the directing is amazing, and I think it's a perfect movie. I think it might be my fave.
October Sky, The Pianist, Shawshank Redemption. How your life changes or goes on changes how you see a movie. You know, when you watch a movie as a kid, you'll see it as a completely different thing, and when you watch it as an older person, you see it as a completely different thing. So I have a lot of favorite movies.
Oh, you know what? Too many. I have too many favorites. Because I used to love I still love Ray Harryhausen movies like Jason and the Argonauts and Seven Voyages of Sinbad. I love The Wizard of Oz. And I love hundreds of movies. There are too many.
Lawrence of Arabia, directed by David Lean, which my father sat me down to watch at the age of 14, I think. And he cooked me a big meal and said, "You don't have to do the washing up. We're going to watch a big movie tonight, and it's my favourite film of all time, and you have to watch it." So I was like, okay. And then I thought, I sort of grumbled about it because it was old, and then I realised it was absolutely monumental, and I've never forgotten it.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Somehow something clicked in my brain, and I understood that there was a place in the world where anything could happen, where there were no limitations, and the river could be made out of chocolate, and you could chew some gum that was going to make you fly, and then you could burp yourself back to earth. And this is what made me want to be an actress, because I realized there was a place in the world called films where you could go and you had no limitations.
I remember as a kid being inspired to get into the film business, how exciting it was by a film that was a British movie, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And when I saw that movie, and I was just escaped into another world and fantasized about everything that went on in that film, I said to myself, wouldn't it be great to be able to do something in the film industry?
Cinderella, the Disney movie Cinderella. And I just remember the absolute magic of that movie. As a little girl, you can imagine. I wanted the big dress. I got the big dress.